Welcome to Almost Here, Round the Corner Future Technology podcast with Richard Jacobs. Future technologies poised to transform our lives for better or worse are the focus of this podcast. Almost here means these technologies are now here and starting to be used, or just around the corner, from Bitcoin to artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Future Tech Podcast. I'm your host, Juliette Lamar, and joining us today is Russell Corris. He is the founder and CEO at EZX. Welcome, Russell.
Thank you so much, Juliette. It's a pleasure to be here.
We're so excited to have you on and learn more about EZX. So why don't you give our listeners a little insight into exactly what EZX is and what you do over there?
Sure. So EZX is a platform that we are building to help facilitate the mass adoption of cryptocurrencies. So we believe that cryptocurrencies are going to be the next major paradigm shift in society, that they represent a new frontier in technology and currency in the way that people interact with each other. And we really want to see this in the hands of as many people as possible. And at the moment, unfortunately, very few people own and use cryptocurrencies for a variety of reasons. But one of the major ones is that the cryptocurrency exchange industry has made it a little bit difficult for most people, especially new users, to enter this space. And that's really what we're looking at. We're trying to create a user experience that's very simple, very intuitive, very secure, and something that new users can utilize to get into cryptocurrency and begin trading and understanding this amazing new technology.
Definitely on my side of things, when I think about cryptocurrency and things of that nature, I think of more of like a buy and hold because the market is so volatile and because I'm so afraid of, my information getting stolen if I'm exchanging on the wrong platforms or if my key is out there somewhere. I feel like that's something that you want to change. You want people to feel comfortable buying, selling, and trading every day.
Absolutely. And so even something as simple as having a phone number for support on your website, I find it amazing that these cryptocurrency exchanges that are holding millions and tens of millions of dollars in customer funds don't even provide so much as a phone number. And so if something goes wrong, you need help, all you can do is send an email and wait days or sometimes weeks for a response. And to me, I look at that and I think no other investor in any other asset class or any other security would ever put up with the things that cryptocurrency investors are forced to put up with. And then the question becomes, well, why is it this way? And does it need to be this way? And I believe the answer is no. And that's what we're trying to address.
Absolutely. And that's one of my biggest pet peeves is I'm like, where's the phone number? Where are the people? What if something goes wrong?
Yeah, exactly.
So besides having excellent customer support, what are some of the other things that EZX is offering that are really above and beyond what competitors are offering?
So we really are developing from the ground up with a dual focus on security and user experience. So from a security standpoint, obviously, a lot of hacks and a lot of issues with cryptocurrency are in the news almost daily. And this is, of course, one reason that's keeping a lot of people away. They hear these headlines in the news and they feel like it's just not worth the risk. So we're really trying to address every security aspect that can be addressed in the current cryptocurrency space. Our developers come from a tech background, but specifically from a stock exchange background. So they spent the last 20 years with the Toronto, Boston, and Montreal stock exchanges building and maintaining their security infrastructure. And they're now applying the same rigor and the same methodology to EZX that they utilize on the traditional stock exchanges. Our assets are being held, 95% of all assets will be held in cold storage offline. So only 5% will ever be accessible over the internet. We are also integrating hardware wallet technology so that users will be able to store their coins in the most secure way possible on hardware wallets, but still have them available to trade in real time. So from a security standpoint, we're really trying to, again, utilize the traditional stock market approach and ensure that customers have utmost confidence in the stability and security of the platform. The other side of it is the user experience side. And again, coming back to, I keep mentioning traditional stock markets because that's really the model. fundamentally it should be just as simple to buy Bitcoin as it is to buy Apple or Amazon. But today, those two experiences from a user standpoint are dramatically different. One is easy and fully supported, and the other one is cumbersome and unintuitive and not supported at all. And again, that's from every aspect of the exchange, from the time that a user first arrives on the website to create an account, all the way through every aspect of trading we are looking at. We have dedicated user experience professionals that are analyzing the experience from the user's perspective to make it as simple and intuitive as possible.
No, I absolutely love that. Just like kind of a side note, and this question struck me as you were speaking about, we hear in the news about a lot of the hacks that are happening. Mm-hmm. And people think, oh, cryptocurrency is it's scary and it's not safe and it's not secure. But then I'm thinking to myself, well, in comparison to how much fraud there is and how many, credit card fraud, bank card fraud, unauthorized withdrawals, are they just publicizing the cryptocurrency more because it sells headlines?
To a certain extent, absolutely. And, this even comes up when I hear about cryptocurrency as, or one of the criticisms of it as that it's used for illicit purposes, money laundering and drug trafficking, etc. But really, the number one currency in the world by far for illicit purposes is still the US dollar.
Yeah.
And somehow there's no calls for banning that. So, and in fact, things like Bitcoin is the thought that it's anonymous is actually a myth. It's actually pseudonymous, which means that although your Bitcoin wallet address is not directly identifiable to you as an individual, it's, I guess, analogous to an email address. You can have an email address that is just random characters, but if the authorities really wanted to track down the actual owner of that email address, they could certainly do it. And it's the same thing with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. So it's actually not really an ideal currency for use for money laundering or anything else, because it definitely is trackable. But in answer to your question, definitely there's so many risks in the financial markets, and whether it's from legitimate exchanges or scams or anything along those lines. The cryptocurrency just seems to be in the news right now, and I think a lot of it has to do with the run-up in prices from last year. A lot of people that were on the sidelines that weren't invested, now every time there's a scam, it's kind of almost with a little bit of glee, they can point and say, see, I told you so. But it's also partly a function of, the nascency of the market. And to a certain extent, we are still in the Wild West phase. Cryptocurrencies, by and large, are still unregulated, and there is a lack of consumer protection. And this is an issue, and it is being addressed by the SEC and other regulatory bodies. But as of today, it's still a little early, and I think a lot of retail investors are looking at this market and having some curiosity, wanting to get in. But for the time being, it's still a little bit too early for a lot of people. But this is definitely something that's going to change, and I think over the next 6 to 12 months, most of the jurisdictions in the world will come up with comprehensive regulatory frameworks around cryptocurrencies, and that alone will significantly increase the level of legitimacy in many people's eyes. And then I think slowly over time, assuming that the exchange industry keeps up, then we will see mass adoption sooner rather than later.
I hope so. And sometimes it even feels like people don't want this to succeed, but hopefully that is not the case. And people do realize that it's not something to be afraid of. This is just another way that we can utilize our resources. Absolutely. And I think part of that is, a lot of the resistance that you get right now is from banks and governments. And, fundamentally cryptocurrencies, or rather blockchain, the technology that they are built on, its greatest feature, I think, is to eliminate intermediaries. It allows for peer-to-peer transactions without this aspect of trust getting in the way. And, what are banks other than financial intermediaries? And so I think they see cryptocurrency as an existential threat, and possibly for good reason. So
not that I think fiat will ever go away completely. I think government-backed currencies will always have a place, but I do see cryptocurrencies reaching a point where they are a legitimate alternative, and for different transactions, one may be better than the other, but it'll just be another way of paying for things and another way of transacting.
All right, so if people want to get involved with EZXchange, walk us through a little bit of that process and some of the restrictions. What coins can you buy, what coins can you not buy, etc.
So just so that everybody's clear, we're actually not launched yet. We're still in development, and we hope to begin beta testing very soon in the next few weeks, with a plan to launch in Q4 of this year. So we're not quite there yet, but we're well on our way. But in answer to your question, we will be launching with the top 20 coins, roughly off of CoinMarketCap, or any of as far as total market cap. All of the big ones near the top of the list. And then our focus from that point will be adding new ICOs and new coins that have been issued that have some real value and some real tech behind them. We will be implementing very strong due diligence as far as any new coins that we list, and the decisions will be made on the validity of the project rather than are they able to pay an exorbitant listing fee. But we want to partner with new projects, and we want to ensure that our users only have access to quality coins and quality tech that has a future. So that'll definitely be a big feature for us. But in general, everything will be designed from an intuitive ease of use standpoint, with support every step of the way. So as I said, even from the first moment that you arrive on the website, you go to create an account. If you have any questions, if you have any trouble, there'll be a phone number that you can pick up the phone and call and talk to a human being, and they'll walk you through the process and answer any questions that you have. So everything is about bringing new users into the space. At the moment, less than 2% of investors own any crypto, but over 50% own stock. And a big part of that is because the process for acquiring and trading crypto is very difficult and unsupported. And so, we're hoping that by creating this portal and by making it really, really easy for new users to get into the space, we can increase those crypto ownership levels up to maybe not 50%, but close to it at least.
Oh, that's fantastic. Tell us a little bit about your token.
Yeah, so we are issuing a token. It'll be called EZX, will be the ticker symbol. And we are starting our initial coin offering. The public sale will begin September 24th. And the token is really designed for specific use on the EZXchange platform. So its primary function will be to save on transaction fees. So in other words, most of the time, most exchanges, when you make a trade, you pay the transaction fee in Bitcoin. In our case, you will have the option of paying in EZX. And if you select that option, then you will only be charged 50% of the regular transaction fee. So we believe that this is a good way for people to utilize the token. It'll build in demand. People will spend it as they make other transactions, and then hopefully buy more when they run out. So there'll be some inherent volume that's built into the token. We're also going to be offering premium access to higher level trading features. So as we roll out advanced trading features, we're looking at bot trading, we're looking at gamified functions, and anything to really enhance the user experience and give users added value when they're on the platform. So some of these features may be requiring paid access, but if you have the coin, you would get premium access. The same thing with EZ Academy. So it's something that we haven't touched upon yet, but it's a very important part of the platform that we're building is the training and education portal called EZ Academy. And again, so this will be for users of the exchange who hold our token. They'll have premium access to all of the features. External users, there may be some free features and then some paid features for people who don't hold the coin. So what we're hoping to do is build in some utility into the EZX token that will create demand, and then as long as there's trade volume, hopefully the value for investors will be realized.
Absolutely. And education is such a integral part of all of this. Is once people understand exactly how things work, they're going to feel very comfortable doing all the things that they want to do in this space. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you got involved with EZX, and really what keeps you motivated in this space.
Sure. So I got into IT in 1995, and it gave me kind of a unique perspective because this was the mass adoption moment for the internet. And every technology, when it's released, no matter how valuable it ends up being, spends a certain amount of time in obscurity before being propelled into the mainstream. And the internet, that was the case. It was around since the 80s, but it was command line Unix. It was very difficult to use. You had to be a programmer. And so its use was restricted to academics and researchers. And in 1995, the first Netscape Navigator was released. And this was, for the first time, it gave people an easy way online and onto the internet. And internet usage went up 20 times in 1995, another 20 times in 1996, and it never looked back. And I see a lot of similarities between that time and where we are today with crypto, and especially in the transformative nature of the technology. So, in 1995, I was talking to people, and I would be telling them that in 5 years, everybody's going to be online, everybody's going to have an email address, and most people laughed. By 2000, of course, they weren't laughing, but even as far as 1997, 1998, we couldn't imagine things like Uber and Airbnb and the ubiquity of smartphones. And yet here we are 20 years later, and the internet has fundamentally transformed every aspect of society. So, where I stand today and I look at crypto and I look at blockchain, I see a lot of similarities in that we're right at the cusp of that S-curve of mass adoption, and we're not yet, nobody's released that Netscape, and that's really what we hope to be as the Netscape Navigator of crypto, is that first portal that gives people an easy way in to crypto. But I spent about 5 to 7 years from 95 to the early 2000s programming. I was doing Java development on e-commerce platforms, mainly in the US. When the downturn, when the dot-com crash occurred, I moved back to Canada and was working for a few different technology companies doing sales engineering. And then about 7 years ago, I got into investing, initially part-time, and then it started going well. And about 5 years ago, I transitioned into full-time. I was focused on emerging markets and emerging technologies. And about 3 years ago, I stumbled onto blockchain. And once I started researching it, and once I really wrapped my head around what this was, it became an obsession. Everything else got pushed aside, and it became my sole focus. I built some mining rigs. I started trading. I learned as much as I could about it, and it just took over. And that obsession hasn't let up yet. And it's really, it's again, my belief that this is the next major paradigm shift. In the same way that the internet changed everything, blockchain is going to change everything over the next 20 years. And, it's just very exciting to be on the forefront of something that's really groundbreaking and transformational. And it's just really exciting.
That is such a wonderful journey, and I can hear the excitement in your voice, and how much you are invested in this space, because you are a true believer of this future.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, it all comes from that. I mean, you can't fake it. That sincerity and that passion. It's what sustains my partner and I. We've been traveling extensively for about the last 6 weeks or so, and it's exhausting, but it's the momentum that we're generating, and the positive feedback from everyone we meet is really sustaining and invigorating, and helps keep us going.
That is fantastic. So if people want to follow your journey more and want to buy token, they want to get involved, what is the best way for them to contact you and to really keep up with your journey?
So the first place would be EZXchange.com, our website. All the information on the token sale is there. We've got some good videos. Our white paper is available for download. And my contact information. You can reach out to me via LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. I'm on all the social media. And I would love to hear from people. We have our Telegram channel, of course, as well. All these links are off of our website, so that would be the first place to go, ezexchange.com.
Fantastic. Well, Russell, thank you so much for joining us here today on Future Tech and really giving us some wonderful insight into the industry itself and to the platform that you're creating.
Thank you so much, Juliet. I really appreciate you having me on, and it was a real pleasure talking to you.
That is Russell Corres. He is the founder and CEO at EZX. Thank you all so much for tuning in. This has been Juliet Lamar with Future Tech Podcast.
You have been listening to Almost Here, Around the Corner Future Technology Podcast with Richard Jacobs. Subscribe to this podcast, post a review to discover more future technologies that are poised to transform our lives for better or worse, such as Bitcoin, artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more.